man getting bit by an alligator scream.
Swallow this.
Welcome back to Reasonably Afraid. I'm here as always with my co-host Rey Reyes.
Yo.
Amanda couldn't be with us today because she is caught in San Diego while the military is there because this is America.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is it so the military's in San Diego too?
Yeah, they're.
Oh, great.
I mean, that's where they came from, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because there's a base there.
Yeah.
So
anyway, things are cool and everything's going swimmingly here.
It's funny because they arrested a fucking military guy on his way to his VA.
It is funny.
Like it's just like you guys are just attacking yourselves. Yeah. I mean, you've been attacking yourself, but it's
our
country is in its self-harm stage. Our country is aggressively listening to My Chemical Romance and going, "I hate my dad." Yeah.
Well, you'll have already heard about all this because our episode on They Live will actually be out before you see this if you keep up. So make sure you check that out. And,
it's a weird time fuck I got to wrap my head around. I don't know if I can do it.
We're gonna. This movie is not nearly as poignant as They Live.
No, not at all. This movie actually just makes not much sense.
Yeah. The military should have stopped this movie from being made. Mm-hmm. Well, today we're talking about the film Graduation Day from 1981, one of the early slashers to ride the wave of holiday slashers. As everybody knows, Halloween started it, and then by 1980, Friday the 13th was the first one to strike while the iron was hot in terms of riding the coattails of holiday-ish themed horror movies.
Was this before or after Black Christmas?
So Black Christmas would technically be the first one.
Oh, okay. So this is So they were like, "Oh, their Christmas is done, Halloween is done. What about Graduation Day?" And it's just like, is that a holiday?
Well, there were multiple Christmas movies from 80 and 81 that were being made, but Graduation Day, I'd say would be the first one to try and branch out and do something that wasn't exactly a holiday. They were like, what kind of event could we have around? Because you had Terror Train, that was New Year's, right? Mm-hmm. And then you had My Bloody Valentine. What were the other ones? There's a slew of Christmas ones that were 80 and 81 and on. But this one, I think, would be an example of when other people who weren't necessarily in the horror business decided that they could jump on the wagon and try and make some money off of horror. This is like iron's hot. Everybody's striking. This is 2021. Everybody's trying to be a content creator after the 2020 explosion. You know?
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah. I imagine the guy who pitched this movie was just like, we need a holiday slasher. And the dude was just like, oh, how about Graduation Day? And they were like, well, that's not really a holiday. He was like, I celebrate it. I was like, why? And he's like, they're legal now. Get them out of here.
Oh.
Get them out of here.
I would love to say that that's not probably accurate.
Yeah, it was the 70s, so they were like, oh, right on, brother.
That's so funny. This is 1981, and it 100% feels like 1977.
Oh, holy shit. Yeah, this is 1981. Yeah, it feels like the 70s.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Ugh.
Well, people forget that about, like, because they started shooting in 80, I believe. So, like, people forget that, like, every generation
has that runoff in the first couple of years.
Yeah, like
so
that's why
everything kind of vaguely looks like the 70s still.
Yeah, that's why everything in in the early 90s all still looks like the weird late 80s. Like everybody's got the hairdos and like silly colors and stuff.
Yeah, and then they turned on the particle accelerator and the timeline shifted, and now we're just stuck in the early 2000s. Look it up.
One day without a co-host and
look it up.
So Graduation Day is from 1981. It's rated R, 96 minutes long. We're going to be going through this movie, and as usual, we're going to cover what this movie's about. And I think I might need to do it this time because Ray's had to watch this movie a couple of times.
I still have no idea what was going on in the movie at all. Like, it's all a blur. People die. I don't know.
Yeah.
Isn't that life, though? You know.
Is how you know you don't remember a movie.
Yeah.
Isn't that life? You're
Isn't
like,
that
no,
life?
graduation day is not life. So graduation day.
Life is just a series of graduations.
That is actually, you know what? This is when the
Pretty
bullshit.
fucking profound.
This is when
poignant.
the bullshit matches up with the truth. Good job. Like a clock is right twice a day, you know? Even a broken clock is right.
I just say shit until it works.
Throw enough shit at the wall, eventually it's just a brown wall.
Isn't that life?
All right. I would ask my lovely girlfriend to do a cameo to tell you about this movie, but she also is thoroughly confused after seeing it several times. So this movie is about a young track star who is in high school and dies while running track. She wins, but she dies of an unknown ailment right on the track. Her boyfriend is devastated.
Yeah, while they're playing a fucking banger.
Oh yeah, while they yeah.
That the song in the beginning of this movie
The music in this movie
is so inappropriate for the movie itself, but it is a fucking banger. Everybody wants to be a winner. The fucking trumpet just goes nuts, dude. It's so good. But
really good.
it's no business being in this movie whatsoever.
Not even a little bit.
Mm-mm.
So the film is about it's really about the sister of the track star who comes home from her military leave. She's got some time off because her sister died running track, and she comes home.
She's learned nothing in the military.
Right. She's, as far as we can tell, not a lot going on. So anyway, so she comes home and to her abusive household where her poor younger sister has been having to live. She's staying in her dead sister's room because her old room has now been given to her abusive drunk stepfather because he needs an office for all the drinking.
They don't even say what he does outside of drink.
No. I mean, I think most people would be happy to have an office for their drinking.
Yeah. I wonder if that's like a thing you could do. Oh, I guess you could be like a beer tester, right? Beer taste tester, or like but they're not getting hammered on the job. That would be cool.
Get out of here. Me and Cherry Smirnoff are having a meeting. So, oh yeah, he has a dark room.
Oh,
which
that's what it is. Yeah,
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, he has a.
He's just a drunk photographer.
Not once do they show him take a single picture. They don't show the dark room.
I think something wrong with my camera. Every picture's blurry.
Well, this is a kaleidoscope. What are those things called? With the, remember the 80s things with like the slide that you hit and it changes the... I forget what they're called.
Kaleidoscope.
No, that one's the like...
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, no. Something a phone. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, the bit was every picture's blurry because he keeps swaying. He's drunk.
Or they're all perfectly clear, but he's like, something's wrong with his camera. Anyway, so she comes home. She's staying with her abusive family, and she's trying to speak with the boyfriend of her dead sister, and trying to talk to her friends and really just process what's happened. And through this process, people start getting murdered. And then, as any good slasher movie from the 80s does, it convolutes a bunch of other genres. At some points, it's a whodunit. At some points, it's a comedy. At some point, it's a fucking musical. I mean, you really can't pinpoint what this movie is trying to be.
No.
And then it's like the beginning and the end.
I know what it's trying not to be. Good.
But at some point, it's like the beginning and the end of this film is a perfect... If you took those two things and you put them together, you'd go, you know what? Good short film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the end... spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this movie from 1981, But spoiler alert, pause it here and go watch it if you haven't seen it. It's of course the boyfriend the whole time.
I do like the let's pin it on the coach story arc. That was pretty good. That was like a little bit like, oh, this is a creative idea to pin it on the coach like this.
Yeah, and the poor guy, they.
Yeah, what is that guy was like his biggest crime was just pushing his kids a little too hard. Just caring about the sport a little too much.
And other grown adults. Remember that photographer? He's like, you shut up.
Oh, yeah.
Like, okay. That guy didn't step in once to, his way of stopping that coach from abusing the kids was like.
Well, he just has a bad experience with photographers. He's just like, oh, you fucking photographers are drunk.
It should have been the dad. Why'd they get the other guy?
That makes sense.
Yeah, and then he'd be all drunk and sad because his stepdaughter's dead.
Get out of here, you're drunk.
Yeah. Get out of here, Frank. I don't remember what his actual name is.
Yeah,
Frank feels like a drunk guy name,
Yeah, it does.
Anyway, it's the boyfriend the whole time, and they have the final showdown where the sister goes to the house and they she discovers her
dead sister's
body, and then she's able to escape after somehow the dead body flings him out the window. They don't none of it makes sense.
Yeah, was it on a rocking chair? It didn't explain that.
Yeah, I guess she pushes it forward, and then the body takes him out the window. So after a series of nonsensical kills throughout an hour of the film, the end is she escapes by pushing her dead sister's body out of a rocking chair into the boyfriend through a window, and then waits until he walks the body back into the house because he needs to put her back, and then she runs and escapes, and then he tracks her down, and they have a kung fu fight.
Hardly.
They have one.
She forgets all of her basic training up until a very last second moment when he decides to try to stab her. And then she does a little kung fu move very sloppily and knocks him into a bunch of nails that stab him.
It's funny, when they do martial arts in movies, sometimes if they want to make it look cool, sometimes they'll have them do the actions in slow motion, and then they'll speed and they'll change the frame rate, and then they'll speed it up, and it'll look super cool and stylistic. They moved so slow doing the kung fu that it looked like the director was like, "Hey, do this so we can do this, cool camera trick," and then nobody just ever went back and doctored it.
Yeah, the editor was just like,
"It was so slow." She's like, yeah. I mean, it's fucking nonsense.
The editor was like, I don't know how to do that. What are you?
Yeah, because you told him to move slow and you didn't change the frame rate.
You didn't tell me anything.
What do you want me to do? Anyway, so she kills the boyfriend by kicking him or something, right? Pushing him, kicking him somehow. She gets him to get impaled on whatever hook is on the back of a door.
They're like nails in the body.
And then is able to run away. And then they do a sort of half-assed jump scare at the end, which is you think the guy's back from the dead. She sees a silhouette in the middle of the night, but it's actually just a drunk dad.
Yeah, who's holding a bottle like this.
Yeah.
Which is honestly, she was still in danger.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, it's just the drunk dad. It was just no, this is probably worse.
Yeah.
He's been completely hostile and aggressive to her the whole time, and he snuck into her room? This is egregiously worse than her hallucination.
Yeah, he's physically there with an empty half-gallon glass jug.
Yeah, he's getting ready to do real harm.
Yeah, he's
and the mom's just like, get out of here, Frank. Oh, yeah, you were just silly
Aren't you embarrassed? And he's like, me and Popov are here to kick your ass. Popov comes in a plastic
This is
jug,
a situation that was just getting ready to become violent, and they play it down it's just a dad.
Yeah, good thing that stepmom, or good thing the mom's always there to push the stepdad away. Thank God that happened. No, I got him. Anyway, so if you needed a reminder, that's kind of the gist of Graduation Day. So we're gonna hop into who made this movie, and this is fun stuff.
Yeah.
This is a producer-director team of Herb Fried and his wife. And Herb Fried, he's known for I think his first big film, and I use big in the most amount of air quotes I can possibly attach to this. The film AWOL from 1972, Haunts from 76, which was his first foray into horror-ish things.
Okay.
Now he got his toes wet with Beyond Evil. That was probably his first really big,
I don't like that phrase.
Toes wet?
Toes wet?
Yeah, you dip them in.
Ugh, it's gross.
It's a completely normal phrase.
Gross.
What's gross about it?
I don't know. I usually hear the phrase "dip your toes in the pool," not "get your toes wet." Get your toes wet sounds like you just came on yourself.
Dude, what are you doing when you come?
I don't know. Get your toes wet. I don't know. It just sounds. Get your toes wet with what? Like dip your toes in the pool. It's not. You're very much saying you're leaving too much up to like the imagination when you say get your toes wet. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. Don't say it.
I don't like that you just told the audience, you're like, yeah, every time I jerk off, I make sure I get my socks off and I get them right in this.
Who said I was? Also, it makes me think of wet socks, which that's awful. No one likes wet socks.
Anyway.
All right.
Okay.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe I was. Oh, I'm the one that's weird for
sure.
Okay.
He also did films like Tomboy from '85, Survival Game, which had Chuck Norris's son in it from 1987.
Dave Norris?
That's probably right. Old Tommy Norris. Dead Punks. I think that's from '89.
I would like to think Chuck Norris's son is just a smaller version of Chuck Norris.
Yeah. not like less bulky, just shorter.
No, yeah, just shorter. It's just like a less like a smaller size version of Chuck Norris with all the same proportions.
Yeah. His last film that he directed was from '99, Paradise Lost, before retiring, along with his producing partner and wife, Anna Maurice. This is really interesting. Herb was an ordained rabbi who just wound up kind of finding the theater scene in New York, and through that met his wife, and became a TV writer, horror director, producer, and basically like met during the production of a play. And like most religious jobs, you meet a nice lady and you go, oh, I don't want to be alone forever.
Yeah.
Can rabbis be married? I forget. They can, right?
Yeah,
they're not
priests.
priests.
You can't. Yeah.
But either way, pretty difficult to be a rabbi and a horror director at the same time, probably.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so he had another...
There's something anti-Semitic there, but I don't want to do it.
Okay. Let's go ahead and cut that at 10 minutes in.
10 minutes in. Cut that.
So funny. I was told the other day we were playing I was playing the episode for... what was it? The one the Friday the 13th episode.
Yeah.
To put out a clip from our, that we shot last year. And it's like 10 times we stop it and I'm like, whoa, we got to edit that. And everybody's like, we're really going to have to edit this episode. The whole thing. Not one cut. It's just
I remember what I was doing.
Turner losing his mind and I was going, no, Turner, get away from the camera equipment. And of course, if you don't know he's a dog, it just sounds like us screaming at our production.
To be fair, it's very funny.
It's really funny. And at one point, we're like bullying him because he was scared of another dog outside. You could see him like afraid. We're just like, oh, somebody being a little fucking baby. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
All right, let's get back in with the clap, though.
You're right. Okay. That can all just go on Patreon, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe another clap. All right, so the other producer, writer part of this team was David Bond, and he created the poster before the script.
Oh.
That's because that was actually pretty common back in the day.
Yeah.
You see, what Herb Fried and his wife were doing was that they were going around to drive-ins across the country, And they spent 3 months going to different drive-ins and taking notes of the slashers that were coming out.
That's so fascinating. Why? Wait, isn't it going to be the same movies? Like, gonna be different movies at the drive-ins?
Well, because this time you got to remember too that like
A lot more independent films coming out and stuff.
lot more independent films because the drive-ins typically held the independents because the larger studios wouldn't let their movies go to drive-ins until they'd already made all their money at the main box office. Because it was seen as like shady or whatever, right? And so another thing to remember is that Halloween started the slasher, right?
Right.
But it wasn't until Friday the 13th that everybody saw the fact that like somebody had to be the first to do the copycat thing, right?
Right.
And once they saw that like they made a shitload of money ripping off a thing, but made it different enough to where everybody wouldn't be mad about it.
Yeah.
They all went, oh, we can spend like Halloween gets all the credit, but Friday the 13th deserves the credit for showing everyone that you can do the ripoff.
Right.
And so what happened was 1980, Friday the 13th comes out. Everybody goes, oh, that's the cinema gold rush right now.
Yeah.
Like we can shoot very low budget and get really big turnout.
Right.
Because before that, that's why all those 70s horror movies are so like cool and interesting because there wasn't like a horror genre to be I guess vilified or like seen as cheesy, campy, whatever. That hadn't happened yet. So back then studios would just go, oh, that sounds really interesting, weird, and cool. Who do we give it to? And they give it to a legit director and they make some horror movie with a bunch of money that like actually comes out pretty decent.
Yeah.
But then everybody goes, oh, you can just not give them $5 million, give them $200,000, and then they'll go and make something that's fine, and a bunch of people will go watch it because of teenagers.
Yeah.
Because the drive-in was also freedom, right? It was where you could go
do whatever the fuck you want, dude.
You go hook up, you could go
smoke
do drugs.
some weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really interesting time in American history.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they went around to drive-ins and just started taking notes. And there's this interview from this old horror documentary from 2006 that I watched, and they interview Herb Fried, and he goes, yeah, we were watching and we're taking notes, and we found out that the average kill needs to happen every 12 minutes to make a good slasher.
That's, I mean, not true, but I mean,
it's not terrible.
They're just like watching fucking like drive-in movies like the Joker was watching stand-up.
Yeah.
They're just like, sex makes it really good. Like,
laughs
what?
every 20 seconds.
Like, I don't think you're getting like they're just sitting there in the drive-in every time someone dies, they go, ha 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 ha. Like, what? Why is this person laughing?
Yeah, it really is like missing the point, right? Where you're just like they're looking for the formula, but they're missing the heart of it. So
yeah, the idea of like what that doesn't necessarily make a slasher good.
Right.
It's just coincidental that happens to be part of the good slashers.
And it's not even really accurate in terms of like everything that was coming out. Like I don't think if you watch Friday the 13th, there's a kill every 12 minutes.
No.
That's not
I don't think there's a kill every 12 minutes in Halloween.
No, not even close. Nobody dies for the first like 45 minutes in Halloween.
Yeah, you get that jump scare in the beginning for the nurse, but then you don't really see him kill her.
Yeah.
And then like then there's not a like kill for like most of the movie after that. It's just him stalking.
Yeah. And I mean most good movies, you got a really long good suspenseful build up and then the chaos happens.
Yep.
But anyway, so and the other part of it is the soundtrack for this movie is fucking nuts. I guess this movie technically does have its own score. But like the soundtrack drives it a little more where they're actually like some clever stuff like the girl jogging, the first kill in the movie, the girl jogging with headphones on.
Honestly, some of the editing is pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of the editing is like especially like where that moment where she's like running from the boyfriend at the end of the movie and they keep cutting in like her sister running, like creating that parallel between the two.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's actually not bad.
Yeah.
Like it's good symbology. Symbology?
Symbolism.
Yeah.
Symbology would be the study of symbols.
No.
I believe.
Okay.
Or I'm wrong too. Who knows? Anyway,
I don't know.
One thing to note.
They're big words. They work.
One big thing to note is that this film is on Shudder. So you can see it on there. I think it's also free on Tubi and a few other places like that because it's an older film. But like one thing that is going to happen when you watch it is wherever the original is from, a lot of these older movies from the 80s, they didn't keep the original prints of a lot of these things.
No. So there's like commercial breaks throughout the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
That don't go to commercial. They're just pauses in the movie.
Black out
like,
and come back right where it was.
Yeah.
Or a totally different scene.
And they do it right before the credits, which was like, oh, it just blacks out and then it cuts back to the credits. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? What's going on?
Which happens sometimes with, stuff that got put on television.
That would piss me off. If I was watching TV, I watched all of the commercial, and then once the movie's back on, it's at the credits. I'm like, oh, I waited here for that? Are you fucking kidding me? I'd be so pissed.
Yeah. Anyway, but the actual editing in the film, yes, you're right. It's
not bad.
Good editing, and it's really interesting because it's at this beginning of the slasher where like there wasn't the trope that got created was from all of the movies that came out from like 80 and 81. Mm-hmm. So like there really wasn't a trope yet, and it was being created. So you can see it even in this movie. Even going to see 3 months straight of slashers and taking notes, they still did a million things wrong that make no sense.
Yeah.
And it makes it hilarious and fun to watch because it's so goofy.
Yeah, it's silly as fuck.
But I would love to know what movie taught them that you need a live band to be a part of your movie. Shout out to Felony, the live band from this movie. They played the song "The Gangster Rock."
That's so bizarre.
And they asked them to make a 7-minute version of it so they could have a 7-minute sequence in the film.
Yeah,
where there's kids dancing and kids being killed, and like it's all this juxtaposition of murder and fun.
You know, sometimes you see an old band and you go, oh, that band is ahead of their time. You see this band and you go, that band is behind by 10 years. I
disagree.
Really?
If you think about that band being out in 1980, no, you know what? I'd say it's right at the time. Because this is before Van Halen would have started the like hair metal craze.
I feel like it's a little behind. It's a little too poppy. It's a little too uppity.
Compared to what?
I don't know. It just feels older than the 70s. Like it just feels like a 60s song.
No, it's like on par with like 70s rock. Actually, it's like
okay.
It's like pretty standard 70s. If you might be right,
expert over here.
You might be right in the sense that like the 80s was starting. So that would feel like the holdover of like the fashion of like back in the day. It would feel a little bit like 70s rock still kind of hanging on in 1980.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, that makes sense.
So, yeah.
Which still a little behind.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like behind, but no one knows it yet.
Yeah.
Anyway, Felony, actually kind of a decent band. Mm-hmm. If you just heard that song somewhere, you'd be like, that's some legit stuff, because they weren't just like some guys that threw together some songs to sell for a soundtrack or something like that.
Yeah, they were actually playing like their hits.
Yeah, they were like an up and coming LA band that like, you know, that that director was just like, hey, would you guys want to do this? And they agreed to it. And actually the agreement they made was that they would get to keep the masters if the movie helped them record this stuff. So basically they were able to record stuff without the cost of having to like spend their own money.
Oh, that's actually like not a bad deal at all for them.
Really smart. And then if it takes off, the band gets credit and everything. And of course, this movie didn't really necessarily take off, and neither did the band.
You're right.
But everybody rolled the dice, and they got a good deal out of it. They didn't have to pay the band any money. They did it for free.
Right.
They just paid for the recording. So kind of worked out. 7 minutes, a bit long.
That is pretty long. That's even long for like a song in general.
Yeah.
That's long.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They're like, let's take as much screen time as we possibly can.
So anyway, the other parts of the soundtrack, of the soundtrack and also the score were just recorded by other people who were willing to kind of sell off solo parts of it, and we'll dip back more into that, because a lot of this stuff, the guy that does that song, the Graduation Day Blues, that song was just a guy just wrote it and played it on the set.
Oh.
And also, clearly a grown man Just like the boyfriend in this. The boyfriend, I mean, my God, that guy, no part of him is even kind of
A high schooler.
adolescent. Yeah, he's like this grown-ass man who couldn't have dated a younger-looking girl.
Right.
Which is so funny when the track coach is like, she's a machine, she's a weapon. I got her like to this point of perfection. You know, how could I know that she was gonna die? And then you see what she looks like in it. She looks like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, she died after you pushed her. She looks like she weighs 80 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah. It's very funny because spoiler alert, the boyfriend is the killer. He the way he moves when he's like in slasher mode is fucking hilarious.
Very musical.
Yeah, it's like
like that knife part when he goes.
It reminds
like
me
West
of
Side Story.
like Mac from It's Always Sunny when he plays Nightman. And
Yeah.
he's like, I have to be cat-like. He's just like very cat-like and like on his toes and very light on his feet. There's this like point where like he drops a knife and he picks it up like he's Spider-Man. And like that to me is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in a slasher.
Yeah.
Where you're like, what is this guy like doing his own choreography? Like, what is going on?
He's just dancing. They're like, all right, relax.
It's like, calm down, dude.
One more thing I wanted to touch on before we jump into the actors. The producer writer David Bond, who was helping with this, was also do you need to take care of that, or
No, it's fine. I'm just putting it on airplane mode.
Okay. Is that gonna fuck up the Bluetooth?
Not for my phone. God, what the fuck? It's on airplane mode. No, it's fine. It should be all right.
Okay. So David Bond, one of the producers on the film, the one we had talked about before, who created the poster for them to figure out what to make a movie around it.
Yeah.
That guy was actually, the way that he met Herb Fried was, he was actually a sub-distributor. And a lot of people might not know what that is. Sub-distributor back in the day for independent films, film costs so much to shoot on, but also to replicate, make new reels of, and then distribute throughout the country, right? So what would happen was, if you wanted to, say, put your movie in, 500 theaters, most independent productions could only afford maybe max 200 copies of their own film. So if you wanted to put it across the country, but you in 500 theaters, but you only had 200 copies, and that's way too much for most of these guys. Most of them, it was you had 50 copies. So basically, you would have to, like, in a weird way, take your movie on tour almost through the drive-ins. Shit. Yeah. And that's why when you go to the drive-ins, you would see so many different movies.
Yeah.
Because they would have to go to different locations. So that's the way they met was David Bond was a sub-distributor who was the guy that would, like, handled that region's movies. So he would meet with the filmmakers and he would go, okay, I'll release your movie at this time and I'll take that reel and then I'll hand it off to the next guy who's the next sub-distributor in the next region.
What a fucking amazing time to be alive for, like, a filmmaker.
Right?
Where it's just like, you could just get your movie made and, like, put it out on the fucking drive-in like it's a goddamn open mic.
Exactly.
That's fucking wild.
And if it did well, they'd keep going. And if it did bad, that sub-distributor would let the other sub-distributor know, hey, by the way, like, no one likes this. And then you'd get your movie pulled. It's very Americana, like, what's the phrase that I'm trying to think of? Very, very democratic, right?
Yeah.
It's like people voted with their dollar whether or not they liked the movie.
Yeah, I guess that's like the today's equivalents, like what film festivals, I guess.
Yeah.
In a way would be like but even that, it's like you have to still pass the initial getting into the film festival type of thing,
right?
Which still makes it difficult.
So this was the film debut. A lot of people might not know this, of Vanna White. Vanna White from Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about this. I forgot about that.
She's so baby-faced, it's really hard to recognize her. She plays Doris. She did a TV movie at the same time as this, but this is her first feature that ever came out.
Right.
She was also in some kind of silly stuff like Gypsy Angels from 1990. She was in Naked Gun 33 and a half, and she was more famous by then.
Ooh, that name, Gypsy Angels.
Yeah, well,
Not great.
not everything aged well.
Not great.
Yeah, we've only been right for the last couple of years, for being real.
Yeah, it's all taking a big step backwards. But
Yeah.
we'll be all right.
We're gonna keep going. Double Dragon from '94.
That sounds sick.
Oh yeah, great video game.
It's a video game.
Well, it's a movie adaptation of it, I believe, with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh.
And she even was a guest actor on Married with Children and Full House and a bunch of other '90s stuff.
Whatever happened to Van Damme?
He's a real piece of shit.
Oh, is he?
Something like that.
Did he become a cop too?
Oh, yeah,
All those guys become cops. I don't know.
All
why.
those guys were secretly cops.
Yeah.
Except for Chuck Norris, ironically, who played a cop.
Yeah. Never really became a cop.
Yeah.
Because like Seagal's like that too. Seagal became a cop, and everybody's like,
now
we
he's like
still
a
don't
Russian
think
cop.
Yeah, it's so weird. So weird.
And
it's like you spent your life fighting Russians in movies, and then you're just like, I'm gonna go to Russia and hang out with those guys.
Good for you. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool choice.
Yeah, just fucking eating propaganda after you got off set. That's what it was. And it's just like we would have all these Russian guys on set playing Russians that I fought, and then
You know what it is?
talk to them afterwards. And low key, Vladimir Putin's kind of cool.
You know what it is? You go where the checks are. So
So
if you're in the Eastern Bloc of
I bet they
Europe,
fucking love him in Russia. Dude.
Oh yeah, you go. Well, that's the thing. You go to the Eastern Bloc of Europe, or like Russia, where some of the entertainment stuff is still 20 years behind.
Yeah,
They're just now getting sick of martial arts.
that's crazy.
So
I feel like Russia is like the Daytona of Europe.
very offensive and somewhat accurate. Fuck you. Let's move on.
They're just like, we made this car out of cans. That's what we did.
We made this car out of meth pipes. So this is also not a film debut, but one of her early films where she's also baby-faced and you can barely recognize her. This is, 4 years before probably what would be considered her most breakout role, which would be Return of the Living Dead from '85. Leona Quigley, who played Trash. Linnea Quigley, who played Trash in the Return of the Living Dead from '85. She's so baby-faced in this, you almost can't even recognize her. She's like she looks like a teen. I think she was only like maybe 19 or 20 at the time of shooting.
The movie was weirdly accurate with ages for, a high school movie in the 80s. Usually they had
women,
Yeah, they had like 35-year-olds playing, and the girls, they were like, get actual high school girls.
Yeah, all the women were high school girls, and all the dudes were grown men. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of stuff in the 80s. So she got her start in Psycho from Texas in '75, and she was in Silent Night, Deadly Night from '84, one of the early Christmas-themed horror movies. But yeah, this was like one of her early things. She's a horror icon, scream queen. She even had a horror workout video that came out in 1990.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, she became like probably the poster girl for horror for a long time. I think everybody remembers Jamie Lee Curtis and some of these people who've gone on to do other things, but in the horror world, she's basically royalty.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There's a little on topic, little off topic. There's a horror themed gym that just opened up in Burbank.
Man,
called Killer Workout. And it's based off a movie that just came out called Killer Workout.
Based on the 1987 movie Killer Workout that we covered.
Yeah. And the person who was at the opening was that the girl who played in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I forget her name.
Oh, the one who's in Death Spa.
Yeah. Yeah, she was there for the opening.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they have like classes. We should try it out.
I will never, but I want to go there just to pretend so we can film it. Oh,
that's aggressive.
Well, don't worry, it's always. Let's move on. So yeah, we covered Linnea Quigley. Oh, Sally, who one of the many people who gets murdered in this. She is played by Denise Cheshire, who was in Jaws, and she actually she was a stunt actress in Jaws. She's one of the people that got eaten by the shark. I could be wrong. I think the part that she played, I think they had to cut because it was the one that was too violent.
Oh, that sucks.
But she went on to be in the Goonies. She was in Cocoon, Lassie, which is not like the rest of these. Gorillas in the Mist.
Yeah, she
Men
was
in
in the
Black
scene
2.
that got cut in Lassie because it was too violent.
Too violent.
Lassie saw an intruder and ripped her fucking throat out.
Yeah. The original Lassie was adaptation of Where the Red Fern Grows. Old Yeller, and they were like, "We should change this a little bit." Anyway.
What you got there, Lassie? A severed head?
This is crazy though. She also worked as a puppeteer. She did a little bit of acting, obviously, after this movie, but she's much more known for her puppeteer work.
Is this Kara? What the?
Making her own puppets alone in her basement, like, ugh. Yeah, she was a puppet. She did puppeteer work on Spawn, Phantoms, the X-Files movie, The Faculty.
Ooh.
Spy Kids. Yeah, she was. Oh, this dude. I am so excited for this one. This one's going to knock your fucking dick in the dirt.
Okay.
Get your toes wet in the
I
dirt.
don't like it.
With your
I
penis.
don't like these. It makes me uncomfortable.
Denise Cheshire did some puppeteer work, but she also, for the life-size ones, was in the actual puppets.
Oh, that's sick, dude.
Yeah. And so the one that it made me the happiest, beyond a very Muppet Christmas movie, because that's just fun, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She did another Christmas movie. Do you know what Christmas movie?
That had possible life-size puppets in it.
Mm-hmm.
No idea.
Jack Frost.
Oh.
She was the actor doing...
Wait, which Jack Frost? The Jack Frost we did?
Yeah.
The horror Jack Frost?
So if you've seen the horror Jack Frost from 97, she's in the suit.
That's fucking nuts.
Isn't
It
that
all comes
cool?
full circle.
It all comes full circle. Where else do you get these fun facts? Nowhere but the internet if you take the time, but you're not going to, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's super cool. So shout out to Denise Cheshire. I almost didn't cover her on this, and I was like, I saw that, and I was like, what the fuck? We got to talk about that. And the
We follow
coach.
these people's careers. What's the line? What's the line before we're stalking them? I just want to know for personal.
I guess
reasons.
leaving the apartment.
Okay.
Fun
Fun fact: we found their address.
fact, she's here.
A little bit about who made this movie. She's in my trunk right now.
Shut up. Also, the coach.
Tell us about a little bit about how this movie was made. Please let me go. I have a family.
Wrong answer. All right. The coach, his name, he has a full, so they call him Coach Michaels throughout the movie. But these old 80s movies, whoever was in charge of doing the actual credits,
Yeah.
sometimes you would see them put silly shit in there, or they'd put someone's full name even though they never mentioned their full names. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times they were just giving it to whoever's doing post-production. They didn't, they're not paying attention to the movie. They're whatever they were told to put is the thing.
Yeah.
So they just look at the character name and that's what they write.
Oh,
So the
okay.
credits for Coach Michaels, his name is George Michaels.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell
Coach
yeah.
George Michaels. Really amazing. So he played the coach. That was Christopher George.
That's great. What movie did you make the credits for? I don't know. This movie about George Michaels murdering teenagers. What?
What a great idea for a movie.
Yeah, right?
Nobody struck that iron while this was hot. That's not the way to say that. Whatever. Christopher George
It's better than get your toes wet.
Okay. It's like you've never heard the English language.
I've heard dip your toes in the pool. Get your toes wet is disgusting. It's disgusting.
Okay. Christopher George is the actor's name. He's a Korean War vet who actually grew up around Vanna White's family.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure that's how she wound up on this set. But go ahead.
Bam.
Mm.
Get your feet wet. Yeah, well, because the saying I think comes from
Dip your
like,
toe in.
yeah, where it's like you dip your toes in the pool or something like that.
Yeah.
Because you're just like checking the temperature of the water. Dip your toes in the water.
Okay.
Get your toes wet sounds fucking gross.
All right.
Ugh, let's get those toes wet.
Christopher George.
Moist toes.
Christopher George, the Korean War vet actor, played Coach George Michaels. And he was actually the godfather of Vanna White.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, she always said it was like he was like an uncle to her, and I believe that's who she stayed with when she first came out to LA to become an actor before she got on.
Was George Michaels.
Was George Michael.
Crazy.
Which is crazy because George Michael is the guy's name, right? So that's fun. Anyway, what was the other? Oh yeah. He was actually really good friends with John Wayne.
Oh.
And was in some old westerns and stuff. But before he died in '83, he did Mortuary and Pieces, the horror classic.
Oh.
So shout out to you, Christopher George Michael. All right, I think we're ready to hop into some fun fact stuff.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We're gonna round it out and get out of here. Because we're doing a quickie for you all today, because everybody wants their graduation day to be short and get into that party.
Yeah, you want to get the fuck out of there. Yeah. You don't want to be in school anymore, you know? You want to go smoke crack with your friends behind the Circle K.
It's always very enlightening what kind of what kind of experience someone has. What's graduation day to you? Smoking crack in the Chevy? Okay. All right, we're gonna hop into fun fact stuff. Her bananas, blah blah blah. We covered that. Oh yeah, the extras at the skating rink were paid $5.
Oh, that's not even fucking minimum wage. Jesus Christ, dude.
That was their day rate, not $5 an hour. $5.
They just pulled up to a skating rink and was like, "Hey,
don't leave, and we'll give you all $5.
We'll give you $5 if you don't leave."
Yeah, you don't have to do anything. Just
I
keep
wasn't
doing
gonna
what you're
leave
doing.
anyways. I wanted to fucking skate today.
Here's $5 to just talk quietly.
Yeah.
Don't ruin the boom mic.
Just don't fuck up the shot. Here's $5.
The special effects was done by Jill Rockow, who went on to work on Friday the 13th, the final chapter.
Oh.
Yeah. Which, of course, as we all know, was not the final chapter, not even remotely close.
Mm-hmm.
Batman Forever and Batman and Robin.
Those are good ones.
The TV miniseries version of The Shining, Quiet.
Why quiet?
Because you were going to talk shit.
Oh, I was always going to talk shit. It's awful.
He's never seen it.
I've seen clips, and I can tell you those clips were not great.
Yeah, I could show you a bunch of clips of this movie, and you'd be like, kind of seems awesome.
I don't know. I don't think so.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
That's a banger.
Yep.
The original?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, the movie, yeah.
Oh, like the live action.
The live action movie.
Oh, okay.
The shitty version of Planet of the Apes with Mark Wahlberg.
If I was around, those apes would have taken over the world. I would have fought those Chinese people. They're apes. They're not Chinese people, Mark.
Wait. If I was around, it'd still be a Statue of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty wouldn't be Chinese if I was there. Why do you keep bringing up Chinese people, Mark?
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg just saying "you damn dirty apes" feels so racist. You blew it up, didn't you?
We had to film it several times. We have so many takes because he kept saying, "You damn dirty Chinese people."
And we're like, that's not
the line.
It's also bizarre in that movie because
I'm sorry, it's just habit.
Because the end of the movie, in the original, of course, it's the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
But in that one, it's the Abraham Lincoln monument has
That's such a weird change.
Ape head. It's so weird. You're like, wait, this feels racist for some reason. Anyway, oh, and what was the last one? She worked on one of Cat in the Hat and all the new Star Trek stuff. She did special effects makeup for. So started at the bottom, now we're here,
Hey. I hear that's a good movie, The Cat in the Hat, but I refuse to watch it.
Okay. Sure. Linnea Quigley was cast in this movie because the girl who was originally going to play that role, she's in the opening shots.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as you know, most movies are not shot in sequence. So the track and field stuff, she's in that, but also random parts of the movie she shows back up in. But that actress was fired because she wouldn't show her boobs.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
She had showed her boobs in other movies, and so they just assumed she'd be fine with it instead of asking her. And then she said no, and then they fired her. And this is before...
you gonna have some standards now? You show your tits or get the fuck out.
It's very
Jesus,
much like
man.
the argument where it's like, oh, yeah, you know, your girlfriend, she may not want to have sex, but you deserve to be able to. She doesn't have a right to say no. She already did it before.
Yeah.
You're like, well, that's not how that works. It's called consent. You're fucking...
Jesus Christ.
Consent actually didn't exist until 5 years ago. So... Anyway...
Awful.
It was not super cool. She is seen wearing the jersey number 46, and then later you see Linnea Quigley as the actress who would play that track team member, because she was willing to show her boobs in multiple scenes, but most notably when that teacher hooked up with her for good grades, and then she immediately goes and hooks up with her boyfriend in the park.
Oh, was that teacher who was like, oh, I'm going to go on tour or whatever? I forgot about that scene until like literally right now. Like that was like, they're like trying to upplay him as like he's so cool, but like the dude looks like a fucking nerd. It's just like, I don't believe that this guy is that cool.
Yeah.
It is so weird.
And it's weird too because like he was like a character actor that people knew and who was like actually like a pretty sweet guy in real life, and he just had to play this total piece of shit.
Yeah.
So that's fun. They changed the name of the character though. Like they tried to pull it off like it was two different characters, which is hilarious. Because it's like it was like after the fact they realized that it could be confusing. They're like, it's two blonde girls. Fuck it, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that was the least confusing thing about the movie.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. Linnea said in an interview that Vanna White was super weird on set. Could definitely tell that it wasn't one of her early, or that it was one of her early times getting to work on a movie, if not her very first.
What a shitty way to like say that though. Like she's just probably being like socially awkward because she's new to Hollywood, and she was like, she's fucking super weird, dude.
Well, she was doing weird stuff. She was featured in a mud wrestling magazine. Like real early on, and I think it was like maybe one of her first times trying to like do something where like I'm gonna be a star, and somebody was like, hey, mud wrestling, I'll take pictures of you. But she had a copy of the magazine and she would go around showing people on set.
Oh, okay. That's a little weird. Okay.
But you know, when you think back on it, if you're like 18, you don't know how to make friends, you're like conversation starter, and people are like, I guess.
Is this you naked?
Yeah. Is this you covered in mud? I mean, okay. That's just a fun way to think about Vanna White, you know, going from mud wrestling and just being like, look at me. And then now she's, you know, TV royalty.
Yeah, we all learn to take it down a couple notches when we grow older.
Yeah. Oh, the band Felony did get a little bit of a boost in the late 80s because of the film Valley Girl. A classic from the 80s that Nick Cage was starting to pop then, and he's one of the leads in that. So shout out to Felony for their short-lived but fun run. Freed and Bond, the producers, they would actually go to theaters and ask them to show the preview of their movie, and then they would show up to make sure they showed the preview, and if they didn't, they'd have a little conversation. I mean, these dudes were gangster as fuck, dude.
That's cool as fuck.
They would show up and go, I gave you some money, allegedly, to show this fucking movie to people, so they'd show up for this. So they actually, like, hands-on.
Yeah.
Really, really hands-on stuff early on.
That's pretty fucking cool.
E.J. Parker played the secretary, and Michael Pataki was the principal, which they had their own little comedic riffing between the two of them, you know, where they were like, isn't it fun to watch these two, like, this, like, will they, won't they, secretary and principal, which nowadays would be seen as pretty problematic, probably. but at the time,
Power
like,
dynamics.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, babe, why don't you finish these files for me?" And she's like, "You son of a bitch!" And he's like, "Don't worry, I'll come over and bang your lights out later. Here's a bottle of wine." So there's weird dynamic there.
You're not gonna say no because I'm your boss.
Yeah, made even weirder of a dynamic by the fact that they were married in real life and divorced before starting production on this movie.
Oh, this role fucking kept going. They took that little dynamic to the bedroom.
100. When she goes,
100%.
"Oh, you son of a bitch," in this movie, you're like, "Oh, she meant that."
Yeah. This is the movie that saved their marriage.
No. If only it came along just before, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a fun thing to do if you watch this movie. Go back and watch the scenes with the principal and the secretary, and you can imagine what it must be like to be newly, freshly divorced from that person and then doing it.
There's some scenes with like the principal and the cop where like they're having a conversation and the principal is like being super intimidating to the cop. And you're just like, who the fuck is getting investigated here? Like, what's going on?
Also, the conversation was so bizarre. He walks in and he goes, "Who are you?"
Oh, yeah.
"Who are you?" No, he goes, "How'd you get in here?"
Yeah, he's like, I let myself in.
Yeah, he's like, it's a school in 1980.
And then he goes, "You Russian?"
No.
Oh, yeah, he goes,
No, he goes. Yeah, he says his last name. He says his last name.
yeah, he says his last
And he goes,
name.
"Doesn't you don't look Irish?" And he goes, "I'm Lebanese."
He's like,
You
you
look
look
Italian.
Italian. It's like, what? Dude, these are so completely different places.
No one even. I don't think anyone looked at the script because I feel like anybody would have looked at it and gone, "What the fuck is happening here?"
Yeah, and then he like accuses him of looking Lebanese. He was just like, "You look Lebanese." I was like, "What?"
That's right. Yeah, that's
What
how
are
they.
you talking about?
that's how
No
they
one in
find-
this room looks Lebanese. What are you?
That's how they find their way out of it. No, you look Lebanese.
So
It
strange.
really is bizarre. Anyway.
This is gonna be my new thing. I'm gonna walk into every room and just be like, "Hey, my name's Ray. Hey, you look Lebanese, by the way."
No, you look Lebanese. This is gonna sound crazy. There's a director's cut of this movie. I think that you can find it if you go get the Blu-ray special edition.
Mm-hmm.
They insert the removed scenes, and it makes the film 8 minutes longer, which seems fucking impossible.
That's hilarious.
It's 8 more minutes of felony.
I
can't
can't imagine like someone cutting this together after like having all the footage and being like, perfect.
Yeah.
So good.
This is so good. I've never seen a better movie in my entire
I'm
life.
so glad I cut those 8 minutes because it made it so much. It made it immaculate.
So one of the problems this movie had was that reviewers had gotten so saturated by the 1980 and 81 slashers, and this came out at the point, I think, where it would have been the peak.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was one of the early movies where critics started to catch on that like this was becoming a full-on cash grab, and not just like, because when Friday the 13th came out, they went, that's a copycat cash grab, but you know, they did spend like $1 million on that, and we're just going to say it's bad and move on.
Right.
But after a while, like all these well-known film critics who are known for covering regular movies were like, "Oh, this is like grindhouse shit slipping into the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
This is stuff we wouldn't have covered in the 70s, and now we're like kind of being forced to cover it."
Right.
So they all were like, "We're not doing this." So a lot of film critics went on strike with anything horror that wasn't from a director that was like well known. And this was one of the first films to kind of fall victim to that.
Right.
So that's why like early on there's really not a whole lot of there's 7 critic reviews of this, and I don't think any of them are mainstream, if I'm not mistaken.
God, I fucking hate critics.
Yeah, they're a bunch of what's the word? Cunts.
Yeah, there you go.
Director Herb Fried actually wore the fencing mask and outfit for the scene where he kills Linnea Quigley.
Where he does a little lifting of the feet.
Yeah, he goes like this.
It's like, what are you doing, dude?
He does like a little hop, like it's so
intimidating.
silly. While the gangster rock is playing, like none of that sequence makes any sense.
So inappropriate.
I'm gonna kill you. Okay. Oh, decapitated head under the bleacher, or the decapitated heads under the bleachers is another part where the Linnea Quigley replacement thing comes into play. They had to get those all cast. This film was shot in 3 weeks. I know it's a shock. But they had to cast all those heads ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see all the severed heads, Linnea Quigley's isn't there. It's still the girl who wouldn't show her boobs that got fired from the movie. So not only did she get fired for not showing her boobs and not get to be in the rest of the movie, her decapitated fake head is along with the other decapitated fake heads, which also doesn't make any sense because their full bodies are also all being stored there. Yeah. So
decapitated head under the bleachers sounds like some niche metal band that you would find in the playlist of a school shooter.
Copywritten, you can't have it. I'm starting that band tomorrow. Let's see, what was the last one? Yeah, I think that covers all the like fun fact stuff. Just generally a fun movie though. Like it's dumb as shit.
Yeah, I fell asleep.
Well, you fell asleep because
like several times.
You were already falling asleep though.
Yeah.
Like once you watched it when you were awake, you were like, "What the fuck is going on?" You were in.
Yeah,
so
it's
don't
a
watch
very
it.
weird movie.
Don't watch it if you're a sweepy boy. Mm-hmm. Watch it when you're an awakey boy.
The main character she's on military leave, and she clearly has no military training whatsoever. She's completely helpless during the entire movie, except for the very last second where she does some kung fu move. Did we talk about this already?
Oh, did we talk about the kung fu? Yeah, we did. With the slow motion.
We talked about the slow motion stuff a little bit. But.
Yeah. One last thing I wanted to cover because we're in LA, and I think this is a great plug that they didn't ask for and probably don't want. But this was shot in La Cañada, primarily at the La Cañada High School. Some of the neighborhood scenes were shot in Pasadena, but all the cut scenes where people are running through the woods were all shot in Descanso Gardens.
Hey,
they do a great thing. I actually told our buddy Caleb about this just the other day, how it's a great place. He just moved out to LA, and he's like, we need a good place that has nature and isn't going to be like, park to get stabbed in. And I said, a perfect place to go would be one that you have to pay a little bit of money to go, because that keeps out people trying to stab me most times.
The worst person to ask that question to is Zach. This man barely goes outside.
Not true. And you're a piece of fucking dickhole. How about that? I have a membership. Okay.
Yeah, we're in North Hollywood. There's so many great hiking spots in North Hollywood.
But you can go to Descanso Gardens and smell some fucking flowers. And
there's
you can
also
stand
free places
you can
to do
stand
that.
right where they gave a spiral football with a fencing sword in it that went through a guy. You can go there.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. But, there's an app you can also download called All Trails that'll tell you all this stuff, too. But you would know that if you went hiking every now and then.
Sorry. Can you go see the new bloom of what's one of the flowers? Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Well, maybe you could go there and learn a thing or two. I don't think
you didn't know what that is either.
It's LA history, dog.
Yeah.
And we love LA. And we love
LA. You want a little bit of LA history? Griffith Park, the guy who it's named after, he stabbed his wife in a domestic violence dispute.
Right now we're trying to do positive LA stuff right now.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Remember?
Well, it also pushed a giant movement of like mental health because it was all they kind of like people were like, okay, he just lost his mind for a little bit, and he was also a really nice guy, like before he stabbed his wife. Like he did like a lot for Los Angeles. So when he stabbed his wife, everyone was just like, all right, we got to get him some help. I'm trying to keep it. I'm trying to put a positive spin on this right now.
Okay. I don't think the budget and box office is going to be doable with one person.
Is it hot in here now? I feel like it's hot.
I'll just tell you the budget and box office because it's just the two of us. Well, do you want to guess with him? Okay. So, my lovely girlfriend / producer on the show, as I've decided, is going to play with Ray off camera.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Sorry,
either.
She's going to compete.
Yeah. We getting our toes wet
She's
now?
going to compete with Ray off camera to do the budget and box office for this film. Would you like to be the guest of honor and guess how much money they spent to make this movie?
She's thinking.
She's thinking. 12 grand? Okay. So low.
I don't know. I'm gonna say 80 grand. I don't really think they spent that much money on this movie.
Okay. 15. Okay. 15 and 80. All right. And how much do you think it made in the box office?
Let's say $100,000.
Caleb, anything? 200,000. Okay. All right. Well, the budget for this film was $250,000.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude.
Well, we have to remember that this is before the VHS boom of the late 80s, where you could just record on videotape.
Oh, that's right. So they had to rent out the cameras.
They had to rent the cameras. They had to use actual film, which was even with the discounted loose ends that you would clip
So if
together.
you could get the
from big
actual film
productions.
of this, you can probably have like a very beautiful looking like film.
Yeah. Yeah, if
That's
you could
crazy.
get the original, I'm sure they shot on 16 millimeter if I had to guess, but I don't know. They might have had to shoot 35 for it because it was shot on legit cameras.
No,
so like,
no one's trying to remaster Graduation Day, though.
no, but you should. And yeah, they had to rent out Descanso Gardens to be able to, or at least a section of it.
And pay everyone $5 at the skate rink to stay in the shot.
That's why they saved money. This film made $24 million.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
And again, with the sub-distribution of passing around
Right.
the reels of film because they couldn't afford to make enough to just be everywhere. So, yeah, $24 million off $250K.
That's crazy.
And this is part of the thing where everybody started to realize, and that's why they're, it's one of the early ones to get credit for successfully pulling off the Halloween budget and the Friday the 13th box office, Fun stuff. The Rotten Tomatoes scores, we'll do those real quick. The critics versus the audience. Would you like to go first?
Critics gave it a 4. Or do percentages.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They gave it a 40.
Okay.
Audience members gave it a 35.
35, okay. Okay. 65, okay. You were thinking horror fans might have
liked
boosted it a little
more.
bit. Well, the critic score with 7 reviews was 57%.
Oh, they were very kind.
Well, we have to remember that everyone who, when the movie originally came out, they always take those old reviews and they work them into the score.
Right.
But no one back in the day would do it. So these are all modern day horror critics, which are just people with websites and shit who have decided to take the time to give it a score.
Right.
Hence why it has such a decent rating. And the audience score has 500 plus reviews, which means at some point a bunch of people found this were not horror fans and or were horror fans that were like, this is fucking dog shit. And gave it 18%.
Oh, wow. That's low.
Yeah, low for a horror audience in general. That's, I think the Gangster Rock as a song in itself should have given this minimum 20.
Yeah.
So, anyway, RIP to the original 35 millimeter print of this film. No one will ever find it. But we have the commercial cutscene version that you can see on Shudder or Tubi.
Yeah.
So, anyway, fun film.
For a movie that made $24 million, too.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Fucking crazy.
Somebody out there has the money to remaster it, and it's just like, whatever.
Yeah. Get it done, folks.
Remaster this movie. Make a little bit of money.
Yeah, look, if we're not going to stop fascism, at least
Remaster old movies.
remaster the 35 millimeter print of Graduation Day.
Yeah, go full in. Who cares?
Did anyone graduate? Great.
They
Oh my God.
They never showed the actual graduation. No. Yeah. And then they did show them rehearsing the graduation, but they never actually graduated. Yeah. There was no graduates.
No one graduates in graduation day.
No.
That's why we pay you the big bucks.
They could have called it Track and Field.
Yeah.
That would have been a better title. Track and Field. Boom.
Well, that was a real blast. Thanks for doing that with me, Ray.
Yeah, if you guys are ever bored one day and you want to get your toes wet, watch Graduation Day.
Mocking me for that.
Get your toes wet. It's fucking gross.
Anyway, go fuck yourself, Ray. We'll see you. We'll see you next week. Oh,
Bye-bye.
real quick, come on in, real quick. We want to shout out our Patreon members.
Oh yeah,
shout out our Patreon members. We got Dank Sinatra, we got Jackie, and we got Kelly.
Yeah,
and we got Nicole. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys
for all your help, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Man getting bit by an alligator screaming.
Swallow this.